but without the incredible winds she was seeing far above them. "You know, I'm glad Devek warned us that leaving today wasn't a good idea. That would have been unpleasant to be in," Corima said, shivering as she pulled a blanket close around her. "Brr." "It's not that cold in here, you know," Tadric replied dryly. "Besides, the sooner we leave, the sooner we're back in a warmer environment." Ruethwyn glanced back at her friends, smiling wryly as she did so. Despite the common room of the guest quarters being made of ice, the room was a comfortable temperature, and most of them were on a pair of sofas, and Tadric and Corima bantered while Sella studied a book. It was somewhat surprising to Ruethwyn that Sella was so focused on magic right now, but she hadn't come up with a good way of asking why just yet. As she looked back outside, Ruethwyn paused as she caught a glimpse of her reflection again, still trying to adjust to it. She'd never been beautiful before, even before her face had been half destroyed by resveragrath, but now that had changed. After undergoing the tests of the fair folk, Ruethwyn had been reborn as part fae, and her face and body had changed. She still recognised the shape of her face, but it was as though a master sculptor and artist had carefully moulded her face to remove many of the imperfections and given her perfect skin, while her long flowing hair was now a deep red that would stand out like a beacon anywhere but in the midst of a garden of bright red tulips. Even her eyes had changed, though the blue wasn't nearly as different from her previous eye colour. "It may not be cold in here, but that doesn't mean that seeing the blizzard doesn't give me chills," Corima retorted. "Do you really have to argue? It isn't like it'll help the weather clear up any faster," Sella asked, glancing up at them in exasperation. "I'm trying to study a little here." "I didn't start it," Corima protested. "Why don't we go out for a bit instead?" Ruethwyn interrupted, not wanting to let things go any further. "Or did you explore the city while I was in the test?" Well, we went out a little, but the city's really different, and with you gone we couldn't focus," Tadric said, his tone awkward. "That, and it took you most of the day to recover after you asked Ezreal to spar with you," Sella added, giving Tadric a chiding look. "He did what?" Ruethwyn asked, spinning around to stare at Tadric, whose face flushed slowly. "Yeah, he asked her for a friendly match. A bunch of the locals came to watch too," Corima confirmed quickly, the kitsune's ears flicking as her face brightened with enthusiasm. "He got completely overwhelmed, and she didn't even use a weapon." Do you really need—" Tadric began, but Sella spoke first. "They decided to have 5 matches in total. I don't think Tadric ever came close to hitting Ezreal, despite her not dodging until the last moment," Sella explained precisely, slowly smiling herself. "By the time they were done, he could barely walk, and she didn't even look like she was breathing hard." "I believe it," Ruethwyn said, still looking at Tadric incredulously. "Whatever possessed you to try fighting her? I warned you that she's incredibly powerful." Ezreal had left the day before, and the Dark Elf caused incredibly conflicted feelings in Ruethwyn, as without her she wouldn't have survived Resveragroth's attack on Melusine. In fact, a tiny part of Ruethwyn thought that the deadly woman was beautiful, but she buried it as best she could. It was relatively easy, since their last conversation had confirmed that when Ruethwyn reached the Dragon's Palace, they'd be facing one another in battle. "Well, I figured a sparring match wouldn't be too bad. I just wanted to know exactly how good she was," Tadric admitted, looking down and shifting his weight uncomfortably. "Oh, and what did you learn?" Ruethwyn asked, crossing her arms and looking at Tadric sceptically. "I learned that I'm so much weaker than she is that I couldn't convince her to take me halfway seriously," Tadric said bluntly. "She could have taken me down effortlessly, but kept dodging just so she could see more of my skill. It was kind of humiliating." "She did say you had potential," Corima pointed out. "That doesn't make it any less embarrassing," Tadric replied, sighing heavily. "You're crazy," Ruethwyn informed him, shaking her head in confusion. What had possessed him to do that was beyond her. "That he is. Ezreal reminded me of a snake, one of those ones that watches silently then strikes so fast you can't see it move," Sella said, shivering slightly. She hesitated before adding, "Not that she was quite..."